Hello, everybody. Hello, welcome back to TPP. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you appreciate the content. So, we will begin with you seeing the moniker, you seeing the thumbnail. Who helps keep money in your pocket, Democrats or Republicans? Every election cycle, everyone. Republicans tell us they are the party of the middle class. Democrats tell us they're the party of the middle class. Everybody loves to stand behind that podium and say, I'm fighting for working families. This is a show about the working families. This is not the show about poor people, because we know what poor people get. We understand that poor people are primarily the focus. But my focus tonight is on the middle class. The middle class people. What do the middle class people gain from each party? Right? And that's my focus tonight, to share and illuminate what the middle class, the parties do for the middle class, right? So I got tired of slogans. I got tired of them saying, hey, we fight for the middle class, and then you never see any of the results specifically, directly, because the Democrats are always fighting for the poor and the rich are always fighting for the rich. Who fights for the middle class? This is what I set out to research today. Okay. See, so as I said, I got tired of the slogans. I got tired of what people kept saying. And I was like, wait a minute, I'm going to go on the search. I'm going to go on the search for what these parties do for the middle class. Okay. So what exactly did you do for me as a Republican or a Democrat? What do you do for the working poor? Not what you promised, apparently, not what you hoped would happen, not what some economists predicted would happen. What policies did you pass that actually strengthen the middle class? And I don't mean the poor. So you know I don't mean the poor. And I don't mean the billionaires. I mean people who are making 50 to 120K a year. The people paying mortgages, raising kids, saving for retirement, paying for college, healthcare, survival, inflation. Today, we're going to compare both parties, not based on speeches, but based on policies and history. Then we're going to answer one question. Whose policies help the middle class more? Let's start with the Republican. We're going to start with the Republicans. The Republican philosophy has remained remarkably consistent for decades. They argue that everything is simple. If business grows, if taxes are lower, if regulations are reduced, if American manufacturing expands, if energy is inexpensive, then businesses invest more. Businesses hire more people. Workers earn more money. The middle class grows. That's the argument from the Republicans. Tax regulations reduce, taxes lowered, businesses grow, manufacturers expand, energy is inexpensive. That is how they say the middle class grows. Republicans. Their biggest middle class policies usually include lower income taxes, the expanded child tax credit of 2017, lower business taxes, domestic energy production, manufacturing incentives, and support for small businesses and deregulation. The Republican model says prosperity begins with the private sector. Now let's look at the Democrats. Their philosophy starts somewhere different. Democrats generally believe middle-class families are being squeezed by rising costs, healthcare, childcare, college, housing, transportation, prescription drugs. Democratic solution is to reduce those expenses directly. Affordable Care Act subsidies, expanded child tax credit, infrastructure investment, educational assistance, student loan relief, healthcare expansion, paid family leave proposals. The Democratic Party says Prosperity begins by lowering the financial pressure off of families. Neither of those philosophies is crazy. They're simply solving different problems. Republicans ask, how do we grow the economy? Democrats ask, how do we make life more affordable? Now the question becomes, which one actually works? Now we leave campaign speeches all behind. History is our referee. History tells the tale. Let's begin with the tax cuts. Have they helped us? Absolutely, the tax cuts have helped us that the Republicans have put forward. Millions of middle-class families have paid lower federal income taxes under Republican tax legislation. That is real. Nobody should deny that. But here's what history also shows us. Lower taxes by themselves have not consistently produced broad long-term growth in the middle class. In other words, people kept more of their paycheck, but the middle class didn't suddenly explode in size because taxes were lower. Now look at another group of policies: infrastructure, education, healthcare affordability, and family tax credit. History tells us something interesting. When families spend less money on healthcare, they keep more money. When college becomes more affordable, families keep more money. When child care costs go down, families keep more money. When roads, ports, broadband improve, businesses become more productive, workers become more productive, and jobs expand. History keeps pointing to the same conclusion. The strongest middle class growth usually happens when economic growth is paired with investments that reduce the major cost of raising a family. Not one or the other, both. Now it's time to answer the question. After looking at decades of policy, believing history favors the Democratic governing model. Now, before anybody gets upset, hear me out. Republicans absolutely help the middle class. Tax cuts matter. Manufacturing matters. Energy prices matter. Business investment matters. Those are real benefits. But when you compare the overall record, the Democratic model has generally produced more measurable improvements in middle class financial security. Why? Because middle class families don't just worry about taxes. They worry about health care, college, child care, prescription drugs, and retirement. Those are the biggest expenses in a middle class person's budget. Those are the biggest expenses in a middle class people's budget. Health care, college, child care, prescription drugs. Those are the biggest expenses in the budget for a middle class family. So when you tailor policies towards those four things, you have a more robust middle class. Historically, policies aimed at reducing those costs have generally produced broader improvements in household finances than relying primarily on tax cuts and tax reductions, economic growth alone. That's why Medicaid, Medicare, the Affordable Care Act, infrastructure, educational assistance, and working family tax credits have had lasting effects. They're aimed directly at the family's biggest bills. History doesn't suggest Republicans never help. Nobody said that. It suggests Democrats have generally attacked more of the financial pressures the middle class family actually faces. And the long run numbers back that up. Over decades, job growth has been stronger. Real income growth for the middle class and lower middle class has been faster, and poverty has fallen more under the Democratic president. The gains for regular working people have been broader than when growth was paired with direct cost relief. Now let's bring this conversation into today. Ask yourself this. What is crushing the middle class in 2026? What's crushing us now? We got skyrocketing healthcare, gas is high, wages ain't went nowhere. What's crushing the middle class today? Is the federal income taxes? Is the tariffs? Are those the things that are crushing the middle class? Those things are not hurting the middle class, not like healthcare. Not like childcare, not like groceries, not like being able to afford college or being able to afford a house. Those are the pressing things that are helping or hurting the middle class today. I'm talking about the middle class. We're not talking about the poor people. We're talking about the middle class, the things that are hurting the middle class today. Healthcare, insurance, childcare, groceries, affording college, affording a house. The Republican platform doesn't address those things. The Democratic policies do address those things. Those are the bills that those are the bills that keep families awake at night. Food, housing, healthcare, childcare. Those are the bills that people worry about. If you're making between 50 and 120K, those are the bills that are crushing you. Okay? That doesn't mean tax cuts don't matter. I didn't say that. They absolutely do matter. But if your health insurance jumps by hundreds of dollars every month, a modest tax cut is not going to offset that increase. If childcare costs thousands more each year, a lower tax bill helps you, but it may not erase that burden. Today's middle class is being squeezed by the cost of living. So if that's the problem, if the cost of living is the problem, which it is for most people, if you go online and you talk to people, have a conversation with people, see what people are talking about, they're going to tell you gas too high, child care too high, housing too high, Medicaid is too high, medical care is too high. Today, the middle class is being squeezed by the cost of living. So if that's the problem, then policies that are aimed at lowering those costs deserve the most serious attention. The challenge is not simply creating more jobs. It's making sure a family with good jobs can afford middle-class life. Here's what I learned after looking at the history instead of the campaign speeches. Republicans generally believe prosperity starts with business. Democrats generally believe prosperity starts with the family. Both approaches have strengths. Both approaches have helped Americans at different times. But if I have to answer the question this video started with, whose policies help the middle class more, my answer is the Democratic Party. Their Democratic governing model has a track record of success with our country. Not because Democrats are perfect, not because Republicans don't contribute, but because history has shown that reducing the biggest expenses that middle class people have, reducing those, the healthcare bill, education, infrastructure, family costs, has generally produced broader improvements in financial security than relying primarily on tax cuts and economic growth. So the next time a politician says that they're fighting for the middle class, don't ask them how passionate they are. Don't ask them what party they're in. Ask them one question. Show me the policy. Show me the policy. Show me exactly how it helps a family making $75,000 a year. Show me exactly how it strengthens the middle class. Okay? Because we historically, if you have high health care, you have high housing, you have high child care, you have high education bills where you can't go, that is what's hurting the middle class. Any party that addresses those four things and lowers those four things is better for the economy and better for the American people. And historically, Democrats have proven to be the better model to help the middle class people with those four things. Okay? Lowering those costs. Every person you talk to is going to say, what would help you? And they're going to say, paying for my housing, paying for health care, child care. All of them are going to say that. All of them, between 50,000 and 120, they're all going to say that. So therefore, any party that addresses those things and helps them lower the cost, help them those costs get offset, it's going to help the American people. Going to help the American people. And it can't be campaign slogans. They got to build the middle class. So far, historically, that's been the Democratic Party because they target directly those particular things. The Democratic Party targets healthcare, helping people get cheaper healthcare, helping people get lowering their housing, helping people lower the child care, all of those things. Any party that addresses that is the party that you need to go to and you need to be involved with because that's a party that's going to help your family. We need parties that are going to help the family these days. We don't need tax cuts. We don't need lowering infrastructure. We don't need infrastructure. We don't need any of those things. We need things that will lower your bills in the house today. And right now, I have to make the case that Democrats, historically over time, the Democrats have done that. The Democrats have lowered the bills in your house, helped you afford housing, childcare, education. Historically, I can't go against it because I try to figure out which one will help. Will the policies that they're putting in place help America? I said that. Will the policies that the Republicans are putting in place help America? They won't help middle class. They won't help the poor. They'll help the rich, but it won't help the middle class. And the rich do not trickle it down to the poor. The rich do not trickle nothing down to the middle class. So you need direct help to the middle class. And the only party that is actually doing that or actually targeting the middle class is the Democrats. And it is what it is. So I appreciate you guys. I appreciate it. Good evening. No, I know Black America. I can't argue with you because you don't read. You don't read. You just talk from the gut. You don't read. I just told you historically. The Democrats have helped this country more than the Republicans. Historically, you know what historically means? Historically means if we compare 5 Democratic rules to 5 Republican rules, Democrats have had more of a success at helping the American people. I can't help you if you don't read. I can't engage with people who don't read. If you don't read and you don't understand, I can't help you. Okay? If you don't read, I can't understand. I can't help you. Okay? So we're talking about the middle class people. The middle class, this is exactly what the middle class people care about. Exactly what the middle class people care about. Why the hell would the middle class people care about a war? Middle class people don't care about a war. Middle class people don't care about tax cuts. They care about whether they can afford their house, whether they can afford health care, whether they can afford child care. Those are the 3 major things that they care about. If you're middle class, you care about keeping more money in your pocket. You don't care about tax cuts. I can't help it if y'all don't read. I can't help it. You have to take the information in and go do your own research. Okay? Don't tell me that's not what they care about. That's what everybody cares about. Go over there on TikTok, go over there on Facebook and listen to those people. That's what they say. They care about the fact that they can't afford college, they can't afford housing, they can't afford to have kids. They don't no, I don't. You sure? I'm absolutely. I don't know what I'm talking about. Absolutely. I don't know what I'm talking about. Absolutely. With no kind of proof, no nothing. Absolutely, I don't know what I'm talking about. But I'm not gonna argue. I'm not gonna argue with doorknob because I know what I'm talking about. You just saying you don't know what you're talking about makes no sense. You haven't put in the chat what they care about. I say they care about health care, affording college, paying for child care, housing. I say they care about that. What do you say they care about? Apparently, I'm lying about that. I'm lying about people caring about health care, housing costs, and child care. They don't care about that. They care about something else. What else they care about? Them suck. You can't tell me. Because they don't care about tax cuts. They don't care about the war. They care about their housing, health care, child care, gas. That's what they care about. Sure, if you can't feed them, no breed them. Hey, everybody has to say that. We believe it. Please hit the like and share button. Please like and subscribe button. I appreciate you guys showing up. I appreciate you guys. I do. See you in the next video.